everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of Comment Section. That's right, guys. Today we have a bit of a unique special episode because normally at this time of year, we do our San Diego Comic-Con special. That's right. A tradition that's been with us since the very beginning. But here's the thing. This year, Marvel Studios announced they were not going to be there, which I can understand because their next big movie is, at least that's not Sony, is Avengers Doomsday, and that doesn't come out till Christmas. So a lot of people think they're going to wait to pump up Doomsday until next San Diego Comic-Con. But it did feel like that created a domino effect of like, no one was there. Everyone just said, Marvel's not going to be there? It's like, that party where, like, everyone expects that one person to be there. And when that person's not there, everyone's like, you know what?
Mm-hmm. This party stinks.
It's fine, but I don't want to be there if like,
I think
Joey's
I'll just
not
go to the
there.
after party, yeah. The real party starts at midnight or yeah.
Yes. So, like, even our old reliable The Simpsons went on to the Variety article. Not much about what the plans are for this season. More about, like, how they had fun at the panel, which I can appreciate. Sounds great for the people who were there. But, yeah, not a tease of what's really going to happen. So, we could have said, you know what? Alas, nothing happened. Well, I guess we won't do a special. But, instead, we were just like, you know what? There's some stuff we've had in the bank for a little bit. Stuff that should have been announced at San Diego Comic-Con. To be fair, I believe our first story was announced there, but that was pretty much the only one. There's some stuff that I was just like, you know what? That could have been announced there, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to celebrate, not necessarily San Diego Comic-Con, but we're going to celebrate the genre of stuff that normally gets announced there. And I'll be honest, primarily this is comic book news today. So, kind of like our throwback to 2020 when it was mostly a comic book special. This one is primarily comic book news. Although,
I like that, though.
I did just remember one thing I could throw in at the end if we have time. That is so not comic related. It's more comedy related, but it could be an interesting thing to talk about.
Yeah.
So, cool. Yes, there we go. Most of these are comic book news, and boy, right now, the most exciting thing in the superhero genre is in the comic books, and you'll see why at the end of this episode. They've got some exciting stuff planned.
Nice.
So, did we just want to... Is there anything you had before we just jump into it?
I'd like to jump into it. I did think of one kind of bit of news, since we're mostly going to be talking about superhero stuff. I did kind of think of one bit of news that I thought would be cool to bring up, but I can bring that up as like the second topic or something.
Oh, okay. So, shall we just jump into it then?
Sure, let's get into it.
With our first topic. Oh, by the way, I should bring up so that like anyone's just like, what do you mean no one was there? Yes, they had a panel for Peacemaker. I don't care. Well, I don't care, especially after how Superman turned out. I do not care. But we are going to kick off this special with some DC news. That's right. So, last year, Marvel and DC both launched brand new universes outside of their regular universes. Now, Marvel, they launched the Ultimate Universe, but DC launched the Absolute Universe, which is a universe I've really been enjoying, particularly Batman and The Flash, which debuted earlier this year. Those two, to me, are my absolute favorites. And ever since, we've gotten news that they're expanding the Absolute line, there has been one I have been, like, begging for. Like, please, come on, guys. Let's do this, all right? We've got Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash. Let's do this one next. and they announced it officially at San Diego Comic-Con. So this comes to us from bleedingcool.com. DC has announced Absolute Green Arrow. That's right. This series is going to be a 6-issue limited series set in DC's new Absolute universe, and the first issue is set to be released in spring 2026. So we do have a little bit of a wait, but that's something to look forward to next year. So Absolute Green Arrow will be written by Pornak Pickett-Schott and drawn by Raphael Albuquerque. Now, a lot of times in the Absolute universe, to make it different from the main DC universe, there's usually a big change. Like in Absolute Batman, Bruce Wayne does not have his fortune. In Absolute Wonder Woman, she was raised in hell instead of Themyscira. In Absolute Superman, he came to Earth, I believe, as an adult, but he has memories. He grew up on Krypton. He went to school there. He didn't just leave as a baby, so he left Krypton and has memories of Krypton. And in Absolute Green Arrow, it does sound like it will be more, out of all the Absolute characters, Green Arrow will be the DC character most like his traditional version, because Oliver Queen will still be a rich man. However, he will be a member of the League of Extraordinary Billionaires, which also includes the Joker and Ra's al Ghul. And this League of Evil Billionaires will be what inspires Green Arrow to act. So that's
unrealistic. Billionaires would never do anything wrong.
Oh, of course not.
Come on.
If you can't trust a billionaire to wipe away your tears with some $100 bills, who can you trust? So, I think this premise sounds really cool, and, this version of Oliver Queen will be more similar to his regular DC Universe version, but I do think it was really smart to differentiate Absolute Oliver from Absolute Bruce Wayne, to still keep him as a rich guy, and putting him in this position of he's a rich guy in the Absolute universe does put him in a very different position from the rest of the Absolute Universe characters. So this is the Absolute Universe announcement I've been the most excited for. I do gotta say though, 6-issue series? Could we maybe expand it to a full series? I'm just saying.
Yeah,
look,
6 issues.
Like, Green Arrow is now in a different position than he was, 20 years ago. Like, this character was a main character in the later seasons of Smallville. He had his own show for 8 seasons that launched a universe on TV. I would love for Green Arrow to be a main series like Batman and Flash, but you know what? If that's it, I'm just happy we're getting Green Arrow.
Yeah.
But I would love to see it expand. So I'm very excited for this news. So I don't think you've ever actually seen anything of Green Arrow.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I was commiserating and I was gonna say, Green Arrow seemed to be in, secondary character hell for an entire existence, and it would be awesome to see that change, but I can't really talk about that honestly because, I've never read a Green Arrow comic, never seen any of the show or anything, so
Yes.
I'm part of the problem.
Yes. Although you can fix that problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I guess I can't turn to you about what are your thoughts about bringing Green Arrow to the Absolute Universe?
My thoughts are I like the color green. I'm wearing green right now.
Oh,
So.
yes. But I guess I can turn to you. Now that Green Arrow is getting his own book in the Absolute Universe, and you know about the Absolute Universe, you've heard us talk about it a lot.
I think it looks very cool, and a friend of mine actually had the Batman and Wonder Woman ones, and I skimmed
the trades
through
or the issues?
the issues.
Okay.
and I started reading the Wonder Woman one. Kind of skimmed through some of the Batman one. Was like, oh, I definitely need to check this out. So I always thought it sounded cool when you were saying it. Now I'm like, oh, okay, now it really looks cool.
Oh, yes. So I guess... now, you've played the Injustice video game, so you know
Yes.
a little bit about the DC
Honestly, a lot of
characters.
my DC lore comes from Injustice.
Yes. So I guess, as we're expanding the Absolute Universe, is there a character from DC, whether you've seen in the movies or from the Injustice
Yeah.
video game, that you're like, I would like to see that character be reimagined in the Absolute Universe?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I don't know if I've said this before, but in Injustice, I was a Supergirl main, as in that was the character I was the best with, and that gave me a bit of a soft spot for, like... It's like I have no basis for it, because I don't know that much about Supergirl outside of Injustice, but in Injustice, it's a great version of Supergirl in that game. So, but yeah, I don't know if that's necessarily what I'd want to see an absolute of. I just happen to have a soft spot because of that. Maybe actually, what's your answer to that?
Well, mine was Absolute Green Arrow, and now it's been
Oh, yeah.
taken. So, what is one?
Is there like a next one?
Boy, that was the one I had been saying for like 2 years.
Yeah.
What would be another one? Okay, you know what? He's one of the big characters, Aquaman. Aquaman
Yeah,
should get
I was
one.
thinking, oh, there isn't Aquaman. Yeah. Maybe something that.
Oh, I did think of one, but you can't
Okay.
do it because Bruce Wayne is just starting out.
Oh,
Nightwing.
okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Can't do it yet. Eventually, if this Absolute Universe keeps going, because I believe they did introduce, like, Dick Grayson had a cameo, but he's not Robin yet. So you'd have to, and Bruce Wayne is still super young, so you have to wait a little bit before you get to Nightwing.
Yeah, honestly, like as far as other heroes are concerned, I'm not that like I would honestly just want to say like a Batman villain or something like a Poison Ivy, Harley Quinn, but make it more of like the main character in the series.
She could be very cheerful in that very depressing universe where
Yeah.
Darkseid has removed
Yeah.
all hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, so guys, I think that's pretty much all we had for Absolute Green Arrow. Do you think maybe if this sells well? Because look, Green Arrow, he is bigger than he was 20 years ago thanks to Smallville and Arrow. Do you think maybe they could expand it to a full series?
Look, it'll have to sell pretty well. I hope it does though. Maybe, you know what? I have enough disposable income. I will help out that. Every vote counts.
Yes.
Stay in line.
Yes.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh.
So, yeah, that's pretty much all I had for Absolute Green Arrow, which, by the way, comes out in 2026. Oh, there we go with another person who can read Green Arrow.
I think he was upset I didn't say Catwoman.
Oh, well, yeah. You can see the hurt in his face.
Yeah, he's dejected.
Yes, and Catwoman would be a spinoff because she does appear in Absolute Batman.
Yeah. That
So-
could fit the theme a little bit better.
Yeah.
be cool.
You know, honestly, now that you said it, that could work as a
Yeah,
book.
that works.
Yes. So, guys, while we wait for Absolute Green Arrow, seriously, in my opinion, Absolute Batman and Absolute the Flash, those are easily my two favorites of this new Absolute universe.
Cool.
So, yeah, that's
right.
pretty much all I had for that one. Was there something you wanted to bring up for number 2?
Yeah, I remembered something because you know, I gotta start trying to tie my own find a way to slide in my own interests into this more. So I have stuff I'm excited to talk about, but I kind of forgot. It's It is related to superheroes. You'll see why in a second. It's very related to superheroes.
Take us on this journey.
And but it's about Magic the Gathering, the popular card game that started the year that we were both born, and is still going strong, stronger than ever, monetarily today. So Magic the Gathering, the dueling card game where you play, like, I play Fireball, and then it's the classic nerdy card game. They release new sets of cards several times a year. In the last few years, they started doing something called... It has its own lore. It's the Magic the Gathering universe. In the last few years, though, in, I guess, a controversial decision, some fans didn't like this, but it also brought on a ton of new fans, which is great. They started this thing called Universes Beyond, and the concept was, we're going to still do a few official new sets of cards every year, but we're also going to do a couple of Universes Beyond sets every year. And Universes Beyond is, these cards are like a different universe. Basically, it's a way for them to get other IPs into the game.
You mean they're bringing the multiverse into this thing?
Yeah, but it's always been a multiverse thing, to be fair. Because Magic itself is... The lore of it is there are a bunch of different planes. Like, one of them is based on, just typical medieval fantasy. One of them is based on, like, a sort of Nordic Viking realm. One is based on an ancient Egypt-y kind of realm. One is based on an ice realm. And the idea of the card game is you're playing things from these different realms and, like, casting them into the battle. So it's actually always been a multiverse thing for the last, like, 30 years. And so it was kind of fitting to say, like, okay, now instead of completely original ones, now and I believe the first one was Warhammer 40K, maybe. And then they started digging into more popular IPs. They did a Lord of the Rings set recently, which I bought a lot of. And what else have they done? Universes Beyond. They put out... let me check. Many of them made a lot of sense. Like, it was like, okay, it's already kind of a fantasy thing. I think that Lord of the Rings was one of the most seamless. Is
that the one you got first? You were just like, I am pre-ordering this. This is the one I need.
It's the only one that I got, like, packs for, and like, cracked open packs for, and stuff. Let's see. They've done Transformers. That's kind of weird. Dungeons and Dragons. Actually, that may have been the first one, because Dungeons and Dragons is owned by the same company that makes Magic.
Oh, okay.
And they did Fallout. I liked that a lot because I like those games. They just did Final Fantasy, so another pretty makes sense kind of thing. This one that is coming out in a few weeks, and they just released a bunch of... In the Magic community, we call them spoilers. But what they're spoilers of is, these are what the cards in this set look like. So pictures of the cards and what they do. And some spoilers just got released for... and they're officially released. They're not like leaks. Some are leaks, but there are a lot of official ones as well. For a new set, Magic the Gathering Universes Beyond, Marvel Spider-Man.
Oh, wow.
So, I don't know if you heard anything about this at all.
I had not heard anything about it.
And obviously you're not interested in Magic, but this might be the first time you might go, these cards look cool because that's Spider-Man.
Yes, I'm curious about what they look like now.
Yeah, and I was kind of curious about that as well. I can share the tab. This is kind of the official announcement. So, like, for example, here is a Peter Parker card. And this is rare for Magic cards, but there is a game mechanic where some cards will, if you accomplish something on the card or something, they'll flip over to a new form. And of course, Spider-Man had to have that. So this has your Peter Parker, and then if you do a certain thing, you can transform into the Spider-Man card.
Oh, wow.
So there's the Amazing Spider-Man card.
I do like that suit design. It's not like it's just specific to, like... It's not like it was just the Tom Holland version.
Yeah.
Like, it's a nice, kind of timeless, classic Spider-Man look.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And that's one thing. Typically, the team at Wizards of the Coast Magic company, they typically like make it their own version. And that was also controversial with Lord of the Rings set, but I loved it. They explicitly did their own character designs of the characters, like, vaguely like what they were like in the book, but they're not based on the movies or anything like that. So I think it's probably what we'll see here as well, that it's not like just straight up Tom Holland or Tobey Maguire. It's
Spider-Gwen.
Yeah, there's the Spider-Gwen card.
Symbiote Spider-Man. Yeah.
And there's Doc Ock.
Green Goblin. Green Goblin, he's already into trouble with those explosions.
Yeah, he's mid-trouble, that's for sure.
He doesn't care. He has his mask off. He's like, I don't care, Spidey. Come after me, bro.
Yeah.
Spider-Hero.
It's like a multiverse.
Yeah, Spider-Ham, Spider-Gwen.
Yeah, I like that Spider-Punk card.
Oh,
that's cool.
Spider-Ham. Peter Porker. That's going to be a collectible one.
Oh, yeah. 2099.
Spider-Man 2099.
And these are just like, in order to play cards, you have to have enough of the associated land. So they're just kind of generic
is that Punisher
cards.
One? What is the skull?
The skull is just black mana. It is like all magic sets have that.
Wow.
Okay, this is the cool part.
Steve Ditko, Peter Parker, Sarah Kelly, Miles Morales.
Yeah, every set will have what are called like alternate art cards. So like we saw the Peter Parker that was like their own design. This is like an alternate, a more rare version that you can find in packs. And then it'll go even a step further where it doesn't even have the same graphic design, and those are very cool. That's very cool. Looking for so these are the ones that look like comic book frames.
Oh yeah, that one
awesome.
the origin looks more 2000s ish.
Yeah.
Dr. Octopus, yeah.
Yeah, so that's like basically the same card we saw earlier, but with different art, and this one would be more rare than the other one. So very cool.
Miles and
those
Gwen.
As well. And these are cool. These are different cards you can collect to create one big piece of art.
Oh, wow.
Oh, and it's 9 cards, too. That's crazy.
Look at all of them.
Yep.
Spider-Man Noir, that's good. That's cool.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I like that sensational Spider-Man one.
That's a cool design. It's cool that there will be more than one different kind of Spider-Man card to collect.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty awesome. Also, with sets, they'll release like pre-made decks, so you can just like buy the deck and play with that deck, or like 2 people can like one person could buy the Spider-Man deck and one person could buy the Venom deck and just play against each other with those decks. But these are the different deck options that are kind of based around that character. So yeah, this is very cool. The Magic the Gathering Spider-Man set is coming out September 26th.
Okay, so next month.
Yes. But yeah, I just thought that was a cool thing that I remembered related to superheroes that we just got some of the art reveals on those cards.
Oh, yes. Yeah, a lot of those look really cool.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing I really like is that I do like how they are using the comic book art and celebrating 60 years of Spider-Man versus just one version or one iteration of the character.
Yeah, definitely. This is one of the character IPs that's very ripe for like alternate arts, because you can find the one that's, based on sort of their own amalgamation. You can find the one that's based on the 60s or the 2000s Spider-Man. Very cool.
Yes. You know, that is why, to me, I personally prefer, in the theme park area, I much prefer the Marvel Island of Superheroes at Universal, which is like the whole, it focuses on the comics and the whole history of the character versus Avengers Campus at Disneyland, which focuses just on the MCU.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit narrow.
Yeah. All right, so now that we've talked about Spider-Man Magic the Gathering, shall we swing over to another Spider-Man story?
That's a great idea.
That's right. Now, some people are just like, you're going to stay pure and just talk about the comics, right? No, we do have 2 movie things to bring up. Sorry for all the people who are just like, no, superheroes only belong on the page. Sorry, guys.
Yeah,
we will get you.
I'm sure there are tons of those people who are fans of it. Well, those are the fans I want, to be honest.
Yes. By the way, not this one, but the other movie one is related to something that has been a big thing on this show since basically the beginning.
Wow, really?
Yes.
Oh, well, that's exciting.
Yes, but that's not this one.
All right.
So, next year, Spider-Man is going to swing back into theaters. That's right. And now, in Spider-Man Brand New Day. And now, we know a couple of other characters who will be popping up in Spider-Man Brand New Day. That's right. And they are the Punisher, the Hulk, and Scorpion. So, we'll break this up into, we'll focus on each character individually instead of just trying to smash them all together into one segment. But so this comes to us from Variety and The Hollywood Reporter, but I also feel like we should give a special shout out to John Roca on the Hot Mic, who reported this news who reported about Punisher and Hulk back in January while the trades picked it up last month. So let's start first with the Punisher, because Punisher is going to be in there, played by John Bernthal, reprising his role from Daredevil, his own Punisher show, Daredevil Born Again, and I think it's next year, there's also going to be a Punisher Disney Plus special that he is co-writing with someone else. So I always think that's cool whenever an actor gets more involved and gets behind the camera as well. That I always love seeing that.
Oh yeah.
So, Punisher being in a Spider-Man movie makes sense because, I don't know if you know this, Punisher's first appearance was in an issue of Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
Yes. So, to me, this is... the news about Punisher is very surprising, being in Spider-Man Brand New Day for a number of reasons. Oh, by the way, I think I should mention this before. I do like the idea of Punisher being in there because I think he can bring out another side to Spider-Man. And clearly, he's not going to have the same type of role as a Doctor Strange or an Iron Man in those. And I feel like Punisher is kind of like Nick Fury was in Far From Home. You can put him in there, but it would still feel like solo Spider-Man. It doesn't feel like, oh, it's Spider-Man with the co-starring Punisher. No, it feels still like it's Spider-Man. It's just here as a supporting character that we kind of know already.
Yeah.
It felt that same way in the 90s cartoon when Punisher would show up. So, there's that. But for me, this is very surprising news for a couple reasons. And the big one for me is that over the past year, Marvel has been really trying to separate their movies and their TV shows, because we saw back starting in 2023 when they try to cross over movies and TV shows, it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
You had the Marvels that flopped, which brought in characters from WandaVision and Miss Marvel. Captain America Brave New World underperformed, which was a sequel to Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Black Widow, with half of the cast being from TV, that underperformed. So Marvel and Kevin Feige has talked about, we can't make it so that fans feel like they have to catch up on the TV shows, because it's really only the diehards who are going to watch the shows. The casuals will watch the movies. It's really the diehards who will watch the shows, which is why back in the day they had it. It was fine when how the relationship between the movies and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., right?
Mm-hmm.
In the movies, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. wasn't canon, but in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the movies were canon, because everyone who watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Daredevil watched those movies, but it's not the same reversed. Not everyone who watches the movies is going to watch the TV shows. So for me, I'm a little surprised by that they're bringing them together. So there is a concerning thing about bringing Punisher, and that is that they need to make sure that they don't fall into the same trap those other movies did. They have to make sure Punisher in this movie, it basically has to be his introduction. You can't just assume people watched Punisher from 2017 or whatever. That's 9 years ago. So you gotta make sure that the audience doesn't feel lost seeing Punisher. So this is kind of gotta be his. You gotta treat it like an introduction, and thematically, I think that Punisher being in this movie shows something that we've kind of felt for a while, is that this movie will be more serious than the John Watts trilogy. Obviously, there's a new director in Destin Daniel. I'm forgetting his name, but it's the guy who did Shang-Chi. There is a new director, so it is going to feel different. So I think this shows it's going to be a darker tone, and I think that this could have that putting Punisher in there, you could have something really interesting about how does Spider-Man deal with a character who is willing to cross that line and kill criminals. So that could be really interesting. That's not something we've really seen either in a Spider-Man movie or in the MCU itself. We tackled it a little bit on Daredevil Season 2, but really that's the first time we've kind of dealt with this classic story of, hey, where is the line? How do you not cross the line? So that's interesting. Also, Peter Parker is kind of in the same position that Frank Castle is in, right? Frank Castle lost his family, and that's why he does what he does. Peter Parker really lost his family recently with the death of Aunt May and losing Ned and MJ. So I guess, but first, what do you think about Punisher being in a character in Spider-Man Brand New Day?
That's really cool. I mean, I do think that would be a cool direction that we're assuming for the tone to go. I think it gives me some kind of inexplicable hope for it being in the right direction. It's gonna create a lot of new Punisher bumper stickers for people's Hummers. That's for sure. But nonetheless, Punisher is in fact a cool character, and it's gonna be interesting to see how they pair that with Spider-Man in this particular movie. Maybe he'll be a tutor like figure and give Spider-Man a gun. How
That could be. All right, Spidey. Make sure you close one eye and then you look in through the scope and make sure you keep firing until they're dead.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Castle, I'll get ready.
Yeah.
So, talking about separating Marvel TV from the movies, how much of a risk do you think there is of kind of alienating the regular fans of, like, oh my god, like, who is this character? Like, I feel like I must have needed to watch a show that ran in, like, 2017. Do you think that's a risk? Or is Punisher more of a character like, hey, you can kind of drop him in anywhere. There's not that much that you have to worry about in terms of, like, who this character is.
Yeah.
Because we saw, like, it's now a fact. Like, this experiment of mixing TV and movies has failed.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
is there a risk? Or is Punisher one of those characters where, well, it's not really a risk. It's more like, hey, you just give a couple of lines about his background, you'll be fine.
I actually don't think I view it as a risk. If it were like a more elaborately suited character, or something like this guy in a different colored tights who calls himself like the mega bug or whatever, and like so then it's sort of like, who's this guy? Am I supposed to know who this is? But I feel like the Punisher feels down to earth enough where it's like, any movie that isn't based on existing IP has to introduce you to the characters, many characters, in like an hour and a half, 2 hours. I think the Punisher is probably one of the ones that's sort of like, okay, I get what's happening. I don't really need more than a couple lines of dialogue to kind of be on the same page. And I personally don't think it's like the most obscure character. Like, people, even if they haven't seen the 2017 thing, like, are at least aware of the Punisher.
Yeah, I think I think Punisher, out of, like, compared to the other TV characters, is less of a risk for that. And they did a great job introducing Punisher in the 90s Spider-Man cartoon. That worked really well. So, yeah. So I guess we'll move on to the other character who is going to pop up, and that is the Hulk, played by Mark Ruffalo. So, Ruffalo, the last time he played the Hulk was in 2022's She-Hulk Attorney at Law. I'm not going to lie. Out of all the three characters listed, right? This is the one I'm a little disappointed is happening. Because I'll just be honest. I really wanted this to be Spider-Man on his own. Because outside of Far From Home, which, I'll be honest, I think Far From Home is a solo movie. Even though it has Nick Fury, I think that is really like a true solo movie. That movie sucked.
Yeah.
So, outside of that, we haven't really had true solo Spider-Man since The Amazing Spider-Man 2 in 2014. So, I was really hoping that Spider-Man would be on his own and not have another Avengers character. And I just gotta say, before Avengers Endgame, this would have been a crossover I would have loved to see. Like, oh, Spider-Man the Hulk? That's cool. But now, where Hulk is just CGI Mark Ruffalo, it feels like that time has passed. Like, why do we even have the Hulk anymore if he's not going to be the Hulk? So, there's that.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, because he can't be the type of character that Iron Man, Doctor Strange was, because Bruce Banner wouldn't know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. So it did get me thinking, what if, hypothetically, Bruce Banner is Peter's college professor? Kind of like how Kurt Connors was in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. And he's a mentor to Peter instead of Spidey in college. And also, since we have the Punisher in there, Banner could be the one to help, like, Peter understand more about rage and controlling it, which is something Peter could use when confronting the Punisher. So, I'm just speculating about that. I don't know, maybe Hulk could serve a purpose in helping Peter get through to Punisher. And let's just throw this out there. I would love to see the real Hulk come back, the one who says Hulk smash. I don't think they're going to do that in a Spider-Man movie. I think that they'll save that for Avengers Secret Wars. By the way, no, we can save that for the end. But so yeah, I'm a little disappointed that Hulk is there, even though Hulk is one of my favorite Marvel characters. But maybe he could serve in a different way than the other characters. So, what do you think about Mark Ruffalo appearing in Spider-Man: Brand New Day as the Hulk?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a push and pull because I do think the Punisher was like, oh, this tone could be good. The Hulk is like, I agree, kind of one of the more rough parts of, like, say, Endgame, in my opinion. But I think, it is an opportunity to fix the Hulk, a new direction.
Every opportunity is.
Yes. Because, they obviously are not really rebooting characters at this point. And, like, it's not like I mind Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk. I don't know about you. I think it's more of a writing issue than it is anything in terms of Hulk's Endgame.
I'll be honest, I think he's fine as the Hulk. I'll be honest. I think out of our four, I think the previous three were better of our live-action banners, like Bixby, Bana, Norton. But it is just like, why is Hulk now just CGI Mark Ruffalo? He's just Green Banner. Like, everything interesting about him that was in the first two Avengers movies is gone now.
Yeah, and maybe I'm being too optimistic in that it's kind of too much to need to fix in, like, as a side character in one movie, but I guess it's like, I'm not excited about it if there's very little progress from what we saw there. If it's sort of like a soft reboot, like, okay, we're doing the Hulk like this now, then I'm like, okay, cool, this movie was a chance to sort of fix that. And then that's exciting.
Yes. Do you think he will become... What do you think are the chances that he will become the classic Hulk again? Do you think that's likely in a Spider-Man movie, or would they save that for Avengers?
I might... I don't know if there's going to be that... If anything, maybe there's, like, a final battle where you see... quick Hulk smash, and he seems like a regular Hulk in like, a final scene. But it would be hard to do much character development to lead up to that, so I could see it being more of, like, a side role, like a college professor or something, and then saving the true, I guess, return to form for Avengers.
Although, if it did happen, final battle, you see Hulk become rageful again, how awesome would that be? Like, that would get people hyped.
Oh yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah. So let's move on to the third and final character we have up here, and that is the Scorpion. So Michael Mando is returning as the character after appearing in Spider-Man: Homecoming. Now, Scorpion was recently featured in the Disney Plus animated series Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and was one of the main villains in that show. And there was a great episode where, like, he was the first villain to actually beat Spider-Man, and, like, how that, like, affected Peter. Like, he was afraid to go back out there and, like, fight crime again. And it came... Oh, man. I gotta bring this up real quick. Guys, if you haven't seen Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, you gotta check it out. There's like a scene. So like, you know how like the show is basically, you take the scene from Civil War, instead of Tony being Peter's mentor, it's Norman Osborn. There is a scene where after like Peter talks about like, I don't know if I can fight Scorpion again, Norman comes to him and says, you know, Peter, and he talks about, you know, Peter, with great power, and you're like, oh, comes great respect, and you're like, no, no, he's bad, Peter, don't listen to him, he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
So that was great. So I'm a little surprised that after featuring him in your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man this year, that they're going to use him again in Brand New Day. But maybe it was kind of a test run of like, hey, let's get people excited for Scorpion so that when he comes back onto the big screen, they'll be excited. And you know what? If that was the intention, it worked. Because after seeing him in that show, I am more interested in seeing Scorpion than I would have beforehand. And I think that you could do an interesting thing where maybe the conflict between Spider-Man and the Punisher is about Scorpion. So maybe like Punisher's like, hey, I'm going to kill this guy. And Spider-Man's like, no, we can't cross that line. Frank, with great power, there must also come great responsibility.
Of course.
So there's that. So I guess I'll turn to you. First of all, do you know who the Scorpion is? I don't think he was in the first 10 issues, was he?
Was he in the first 10 issues?
I don't think he was.
Could he have been in the second 10 issues? I don't.
He could have been.
Yeah, I don't really remember Scorpion that well, so I don't think so.
Do you remember him in the first Tobey Maguire video game?
Yeah, vaguely, I think.
There's like, he's only in it for a little bit, but then like you fight him in the subway, and then there's the cutscene where he like hits Spider-Man with his tail and runs away, and he's like, freedom, freedom, and has one of my favorite Tobey lines ever, where he gets up and Tobey's Spider-Man is just like, that was just plain rude. So
yeah. By the way, first appearance appears to be issue 19.
Okay, so that's probably in volume 2.
Yeah, I think I've read volumes 1 and 2. I mean, ages ago, but I've read volumes 1 and 2. So maybe I saw little taste.
Yeah. So what do you think about Scorpion being in the movie? It sounds like he'll be the main villain.
Yeah. I mean, that seems cool. Yeah, obviously I don't know a ton, but I mean, it's very like, I think that's, if done right, very ripe for like, you know, it's Scorpion. It's has potential iconic villain kind of direction, but
you know, in the comics, when the scientist makes the Scorpion, he says he chose the Scorpion because it's the natural enemy of the spider.
Ah, yeah. That makes sense, you know. It makes sense why it's one of the first things you come up with, too.
Yes. So, I'll just throw this out there real quick. You know, in the comic, the one behind the creation of the Scorpion is J. Jonah Jameson, where he works with a scientist who turns Mac Gargan into the Scorpion. Do we think that's going to happen in this movie? I can't really see J. Jonah Jameson in this universe being the one to create a villain and be like, oops, guys, my bad.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think so.
No, I think we moved past that. I don't think, like, even in the Raimi movies they would have done that.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think probably going to come up with something else.
Unless, like, maybe Jameson tries to create him as a hero, but he hates masked heroes, so...
Yeah.
There's that. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I had for Spider-Man Brand New Day. Oh, But there is one more question we have to ask before we move on. Now, currently it's set to be released on July 31st, 2026. Now, originally, Avengers Doomsday was coming out in May 2026, but it has moved to December, which, they said it was to help its box office, which I get, because you look at how Star Wars, Avatar, No Way Home performed at Christmas time. That will help Avengers.
Yeah.
It's been a little bit since they delayed Avengers to December. And a lot of people were wondering, like, what does that mean for Spider-Man? The fact that it's been a little bit, they are filming now. Are we safe now where, like, Spider-Man will stay in July? Because I think now that it's been a little bit, they are filming. I do think it will still come out in July. What do you think? Are we safe from it being moved to accommodate Avengers?
Gosh, for Avengers, maybe. I was kind of thinking, like, you got to get this out on time. It's Spider-Man, but
Yeah.
if Avengers is moved, then it's a lot more likely, I think.
Yeah. By the way, I still think everyone thinks Doomsday is going to be the Marvel movie of 2026.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think that. I think Spider-Man will be bigger. I just think now, Spider-Man is like the franchise everyone's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And like, look, Avengers, this is the first one without Cap, without Iron Man. Now you don't have Hulk. It also doesn't have Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So, and look, yeah, Robert Downey Jr. is coming back as Iron Man, but I think for a lot of people, that's also kind of like, what are you doing?
I think that's true. My only thing is, like, unfortunately, a lot of sort of cynical business decisions, and I believe that that's what bringing Robert Downey Jr. back kind of is. I wouldn't buy that it's like a true artistic decision. It's a cynical business decision to get people hyped about it. That does work. It's sort of like, no, don't do that. That's like, seems like shady to do cynical business decisions. We don't like that. But unfortunately, it does often work to do business decisions like that. So it might be enough to push that Avengers movie over the edge into being the more successful one.
Yeah, I don't think Avengers is a guaranteed billion, because you look at the team, right? It's like Thor and Ant-Man and like the new characters. Yeah. X-Men without Wolverine, and the Fantastic Four from a movie that's underperforming right now. Like, I don't think it's guaranteed. I think if it's good, it can. If it's good, it will have an easy time making $1 billion. But like, some people are like, "Oh man, this is gonna be $2 billion easy." I'm like, I don't see that being easy.
Yeah, I don't see it being easy for it either. But I see that as a, I guess, general unfortunate downturn in what we might be seeing for Marvel movies unless something changes.
Yeah, and like, look, to be fair, as much as we all don't like, as much as some of us don't like the Doctor Doom idea, to be fair, they did have to scramble. They did have to throw away their plans because Ant-Man 3 killed their plans for Kang, because the Kang just did not work. It just, they had to like go back and shuffle around. But I will say this for the Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom thing. And just from like the comics, I think Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom could negatively affect Doomsday. But I don't think it will be that big a deal in Secret Wars, because I think that one is going to be very much a Reed Richards versus Doctor Doom story. And because Reed Richards wasn't there when we had Tony Stark in the MCU, I think that removes that.
Okay, yeah.
So I think, like, I think in Secret Wars it is going to be more of like the classic characters like Toby, Andrew, Hugh Jackman, the Fantastic. I think the main characters in Secret Wars will be Doctor Doom and Reed Richards. So I think
Yeah.
it will be less of a distracting weird thing in Secret Wars than it will be in Doomsday. Just my guess, knowing from the comics that Secret Wars is very Reed Richards versus Doctor Doom.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So there's that. So did we want to move on to our next topic then?
Sure. If you don't mind real quick, I'm just going to keep recording, but I'm going to make a cut here because I have to go to the bathroom really bad.
Oh,
Just
okay.
Drink a ton of water. No, it was water.
Okay.
Before this.
Paul is going to be like, all right,
Yeah.
time for that drug and alcohol test.
Yeah. But yeah. Real quick. BRB.
Okay.
Hello.
Okay.
All right. Sorry about that. All right. I guess if you're ready, let's get on to the next next bit of news then.
All right. So this next piece of news is now, guys. We are back to our comic book news. So for those of you who are just like, no, the page is all that matters. It's okay. We're back.
Yes.
So, not gonna lie, this might be potentially my favorite story of the year.
Oh.
So we'll see. All right, now, do you guys remember when we did our Spider-Man countdown of our top favorite versions of Spider-Man?
I do.
Yes. So I talked about how my favorite is the '90s cartoon. That was my first introduction to Spider-Man. That, to me, is the definitive version of the character. And guess what, guys? He's coming back. He is coming back because Marvel has announced the new Spider-Man 94 comic book series, which, oh my god, I am so hyped for.
Wow.
This is the one I've been really saving in the bank. Like, oh my god, it's happening!
Wow.
So,
yeah, that's awesome.
yes, so this comes to us from Marvel.com. Spider-Man 94 will be a continuation of the animated series that aired on Fox Kids from 1994 to 1998. The 4-issue limited series will be written by J.M. DeMatteis, who does have a history with Spider-Man, has done a lot of great stuff, and drawn by James Towie. The first issue will be released on September 3. That's right. I'm definitely going to the comic book store that Wednesday.
Very cool.
So, in an interview with CBR, DeMatteis said that the series won't pick up right after the cliffhanger where, so in the show, Mary Jane was missing, and at the end of the last episode, Spider-Man was with Madam Web, who tells him, you know what? It's time for us to go find Mary Jane, and that was the end of the show. So, this miniseries will not pick up right after that. It will open with, Spider-Man has already found Mary Jane, and they are back home and are ready to start a new life together. However, DeMatteis also shared that if this series does well, he was told that they can go back and explain how Peter found Mary Jane. And so, it is a little different from what a lot of us were expecting, but still looking forward to it. So, this limited series will introduce the animated series versions of Kane and Moreland. So, that's exciting. They were not in the cartoon. Moreland was actually created after the show ended in 2001. And that Moreland being introduced in this universe is very exciting to me because he was created by J. Michael Straczynski and John Romita Jr., and he was introduced in the Spider-Man comics right as I started to buy them in 2001. So I have a very special place in my heart for Moreland. And to have him introduced in this universe is so exciting. I'm very looking forward to seeing the animated series version of him. So yeah, there's that. So I feel like I've said a lot this year between Ultimate Wolverine and Batman Hush, but this may be my most anticipated comic book of 2025. I am so hyped for it. I thought that recently they did some X-Men, the animated series comic books. I thought they did a great job with those. I am so hyped for this book, and having a great writer only raises the hype. So even though I believe you haven't seen the 90s cartoon,
Not
or
much
a lot
of
of
it.
it, at least.
Yeah, not much.
What are your thoughts about bringing back 90s Peter Parker in this limited edition comic, in this limited series?
Yeah, I mean, really cool. I see how it's very exciting. Definitely makes sense as something that would get people's attention. As it kind of, it seems like in the same vein of like, oh, I'm surprised they didn't just make it like a series, like an X-Men 97 type of thing. But hey, maybe comics even better, or another way to explore more of this sort of nostalgia, trying to capture the energy of these past iterations without having to commit to a full series. Maybe even testing the waters. So, pretty cool.
Yes. Now, what you did bring up did segue to the next thing I wanted to bring up. So, in that interview, he talked. Now, I was surprised they're not going to do the story of how Peter found Mary Jane. Got me thinking. He said, the writer, DeMatteis said, if this series does well, they'll go back and tell that story. Maybe a hint that they're saving it for TV. If this series does well, do you think maybe, or the fact that they're even saying, hey, don't tell that story, we're saving that for later. Is that maybe a hint that, hey, look, X-Men 97 is probably the biggest, like the most beloved thing Marvel has put out in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we do have your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. That is great. But we'd all love 90s Spider-Man to come back. So I kind of think maybe they are kind of saving it for like, hey, this will be a fun little thing, but maybe we're saving that story for its own animated series. So do you think that could be happening?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was kind of a thought that did just cross my mind, which was like, yeah, the testing the waters for if this has enough interest to make it into a full series on no, like animated or something, or but yeah,
Yeah, even if we don't get a full series, I would love for him for Christopher Daniel Barnes to have a guest appearance on X-Men 97. So, hey, look, whatever happens, at least we got 90s Spider-Man back, which is great. Although he didn't speak, but he did have 2 cameo appearances in X-Men 97, which was warmed my heart. So, that was great. I'm very much looking forward to this series. So, should we move on to our next thing?
sure, let's do that.
All right. Teased it earlier. This is a story that deals with something we've been talking about basically from the beginning.
Really? So this is the one?
Yes. It is. Kevin Feige. Oh, by the way, this is our second movie story, okay? So for those of you who are just like, no, the page! We will get back to the page.
Yeah.
Kevin Feige finally says that Marvel will eventually recast Tony Stark and Steve Rogers. So, something that has been brought up on this show since literally the beginning of, hey,
Yeah.
we love Chris Evans, we love RDJ, but you gotta recast him eventually. So
yeah,
Kevin
we sure have talked about that a lot.
Yes. Kevin Feige finally says that will eventually happen. So, this comes to us via Variety. Kevin Feige talks about how Marvel will eventually recast Tony Stark and Steve Rogers. He also talked about how other franchises have done it multiple times, including Superman, most recently with David Cornsweet, and how right now they're searching for a new James Bond.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, he even talked about like the difficulty it will be, because we all love RDJ as Tony Stark. We all love Chris Evans as Steve Rogers. But he did compare it to the difficulty of having to replace Sean Connery as James Bond. So he talked about, look, it was tough, but it has been done before.
Yeah.
So, look, Feige, since Avengers Endgame, has had to learn a lot of lessons between like the stuff with Disney Plus, just like so. Look, clearly there's been a rough time since Endgame, and Feige and everyone at Marvel has had to learn some lessons, and this was definitely one of them because Tony and Steve. Look, as much as we can say it was the Marvel universe, Tony and Steve were the main characters of the MCU during the Infinity Saga, and losing them has hurt the franchise, and a lot of people have compared it to The Office without Steve Carell.
Mm-hmm.
And look, these characters are bigger than just one actor, and a Marvel universe needs a Steve Rogers and a Tony Stark. So there's that, and you know what? I almost can't help but wonder, maybe having No Way Home, 3 Peter Parkers together, 3 actors who gave 3 great performances, maybe having to recast the X-Men, maybe that kind of was something to make Kevin Feige think, you know, other actors can play these characters. So maybe that has something to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'll say this. If Feige's already publicly talking about this, he already knows when he's going to recast them. Because I remember during the press tour for Deadpool and Wolverine, he talked about bringing back Robert Downey Jr. after Endgame, and then it was a couple weeks later that they did the Doctor Doom announcement. So if he's talking about it now, he knows when they're coming back. And I think that Avengers Secret Wars will either end or have a post-credit scene where we're introduced to the new versions of Tony Stark and Steve Rogers.
Mm.
Maybe someone like Spider-Man goes to Avengers Tower or Avengers Mansion, and then you see the suits and they take off the mask, and that's how they're revealed, the new actors. But I do think that they are coming soon. Mm-hmm. So this is a very important thing that Marvel has needed. And look, I talked a lot about how it feels like Marvel is making a lot of positive choices to get back on track. This is a big one. Mm-hmm. So, I'm very happy to hear this news. So what do you think about Kevin Feige finally announcing, yes, we will eventually recast Tony Stark and Steve Rogers? And how necessary do you think that is for a Marvel universe?
Yeah, well, we've definitely very extensively and repeatedly talked about how positive this is, so I almost don't even need to restate how positive it is. But, yeah, I do think it's funny how this statement feels like babying people into the most obvious thing, which is like, yeah, recastings have happened all the time. Of course, like, we've seen James Bond and Superman recastings time and time again. But something about Iron Man and Captain America, just, like, something about it is so sticky with people where they just kind of forget that this is a normal part of movies that has happened forever.
By the way, Chris Evans is not our first Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
There have been other ones before him.
Mm-hmm. So it is funny to need to do, like, a press statement.
Well, to be fair, this was during a press event for Fantastic Four. Most of this was about Fantastic Four. This was just one piece of the Fantastic Four Q&A.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, but still, like you mentioned, I think that if this is voiced, I think that's a sign that it is much further along than, the statement would imply. You wouldn't say that unless you have some. So, yeah, I also agree that it could potentially be as soon as, hinting at it in, like you said, in the Avengers movie. But, yeah, I obviously think it's very positive. Those characters need to be... They need to be in Avengers. They need to be in the multiverse to really make this thrive.
Yes. And, we've heard rumors about how for Black Panther 3, they're already kind of considering recasting T'Challa. So there's that. So, you know what I think? Because you did bring up an interesting thing about why did people struggle with recasting Iron Man and Cap? It did make me think of something, Because remember the lead up to Endgame, everyone was so excited, like, oh man, one of them could actually die?
Yeah.
I almost kind of think that what happened was, look, when you're 4 years old and you watch these movies, you're like, oh my god, they could die. But, like, once you get to, like, 10, you're like, well, they can't die because they want to do a sequel. I think there was kind of this feeling of, like, don't recast them. Like, if you actually kill them off, like, there's, like, feeling 4 years old again, like, oh, they could actually die. And you know what? It happened. And then when the story continued, people were like, yeah, this is awesome. I feel like I'm 4 again. And then once it happened, people were like, oh.
Yeah.
This kind of sucks now.
Yeah.
Where are they?
Yeah. That's a good point.
So, yeah. But you know what? I think this is a very good sign. One other thing I'll bring up. I don't think they'll play a big role in Secret Wars. Like, if they do appear in Secret Wars, I don't think the new actors would be a big role. I think more likely it would be Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. playing a big role as their characters. And we know this would actually be the final time before they do recast.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, do you think that if they do recast in Secret Wars, would they have a big role, or is that something they would save till the end?
I think they'd probably save it to the end, personally.
Yeah. So there we go with that. So should we move back to the comic book news?
Yes. Wow, this is such a roller coaster.
Yes. I know. Right now the page people are like, finally, stay on the comics. And I'm like, guys, we will. I promise. I'm sorry that we interrupted you for movies.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Now we talked about earlier the Absolute Universe. Let's talk about Marvel's Ultimate Universe, shall we? So, this comes to us. All right, so the news is that Ultimate Spider-Man, you know, the big comic book, it's ending at issue 24. Whoa. And they also announced a new miniseries, Ultimate Endgame. That's right. And they actually, maybe I can find a poster for it, but they did share an image of the first cover. And boy, does it look cool, especially for what especially for what it references.
Is that so?
Let me see if I can share it real quick.
Yeah. Very
share
interesting.
Screen.
Hopefully it
Can you see it or
oh yes, I see it.
So yeah, look at that right there.
Oh yeah. That is cool.
Yes. So Ultimate Endgame. So this comes to us from Marvel.com. So Ultimate Spider-Man is going to end with issue 24, which will be released on December 24th of this year. So Christmas Eve is when this series ends. So, you know, a countdown for the holidays, but you feel the heartbreak, too, of this series ending. So, writer Jonathan Hickman says that it was always his plan to end this series after 24 issues, and that everything will culminate in that final issue. And we also have Ultimate Endgame number 1 will be released on December 31st. It will be drawn by the Ultimates It will be written by the Ultimates writer Denise Camp, and be written by Jonas Scharf, and be drawn by Jonas Scharf along with others. So, in Ultimate Endgame, at the beginning of the Ultimate Universe, the maker went back in time, changed history, and he's been locked away for 2 years. And every issue has been a countdown for his return. And now, it's been 2 years, he's finally coming back. So, all the heroes of the Marvel Universe are going to have to come together to stop this villain. So, a lot of people have been like, hey, you know what? We missed the countdown to Endgame. Well, guess what? We've had it in the comics for 2 years, and it's culminating into this. So, we'll break this up into two things. Let's talk about Ultimate Endgame first. I'm very much looking forward to Ultimate Endgame. The first crossover, maybe the last crossover of this universe, I'm looking forward to. I think that this whole storyline of like trying to fix the world that the maker messed up has been so interesting, and I'm looking forward to it. And I just look at this poster. I look at this poster and think, my God, we actually had a new Marvel universe come together in the 2020s, which recreated that feeling of the MCU Infinity Saga. It recreated the feeling of seeing the old Ultimate Universe from the 2000s. So,
yeah.
Now, you have not read any of the Ultimate Universe.
No, I don't believe so.
But what do you think about, I guess, maybe I can ask you, what do you think of this poster and naming it Ultimate Endgame? And now that after 2 years, this story is culminating with its planned conclusion.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, it definitely does feel like, like we're seeing, that, they're able to kind of make this similar bit of drama and culmination works so well in comics. So it's very cool to still see big endings like this happen in comics, even if, you know, we're seeing improvements, but still slow on the movie front. So, very awesome poster.
Yeah, I love this poster so much. I love how it also has like the credits at the top. By the way, I love how Reed Richards is credited twice, because you have the Doctor Doom Reed Richards and the Maker. So that's cool to see.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love that poster so much. And how great is it to see Wolverine in an Avengers Endgame poster?
Yeah, that's
we
awesome.
didn't get that last time. Legally, we couldn't have that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the end of Ultimate Spider-Man. So now, Ultimate Spider-Man is the only book that's confirmed to end with issue 24. But if Ultimate Spider-Man is ending, I'm assuming that the other ones are going to end too, because I can't see continuing this line when, like, that's your biggest book is Ultimate Spider-Man. I can't see them continuing it without their most popular one, unless they go back and relaunch with another issue 1, which I don't think is necessary to do. You might as well just continue with issue 25, 26. So, I'll be honest, I'm a little disappointed that it's ending after only 2 years, and I was hoping it would go on for several years and have at least 100 issues. But at the same time, I do feel that if Jonathan Hickman, who has done such a great job with this universe, feels that the story is over, then they should wrap it up. And also, we should keep in mind, Marvel kind of has a history of universes overstaying their welcome.
Yeah.
Because the old Ultimate Universe from the 2000s did overstay its welcome for several years, and now so has the MCU. So, end of the day, I wish it was continuing, but if they feel like, hey, look, this is the end of our story, we know what happened the last couple of times we overstayed our welcome, then I get it.
Yeah.
So, now that Ultimate Spider-Man is coming to an end, what are my thoughts on its legacy? And that is that even though it was a short one, it's one that I'll always remember fondly. And for me personally, you know what? I'll go with the legacy thing first. I really hope that the 4 volumes they have of Ultimate Spider-Man are as fondly remembered as, like, alternate takes on characters like The Dark Knight Returns, Kingdom Come, and All-Star Superman. And we see people are still going back, even though those stories aren't canon, even though they are, like, short runs. People are still going back and loving those stories, and I hope that the same happens with Ultimate Spider-Man and this Ultimate Universe. And so, for me personally, this book did a couple of things. Number one, it kind of gave me that feeling again that I hadn't had for a while, seeing a Marvel Universe come together. Which, for the last few years, I had really been missing the MCU. And I had really been missing, before that, the Ultimate Universe. So,
yeah,
it gave that feeling again that I had been really wanting. And it got me back into regularly reading new Marvel comics. Like, I had just not read Marvel in, like, so long. But, like, this Ultimate Universe was like, oh my god. Well, let me check out the regular Marvel Universe. So it got me reading those books as well. And saying, hey, they got some good stuff in there, too. So, I think that's the biggest takeaway, is that it got me back into reading Marvel comics. And that's something I'll always look back fondly on this universe with. So, what do you think about 24 issues, Ultimate Spider-Man is ending. Is that too soon? Should they think about expanding it, or is it kind of just like, no, if you feel the story is done, you should end it? And if Ultimate Spider-Man is done, is that the end of the whole universe?
Well, I don't know. I've always been a proponent of, things not going on too long. End with a peak, end at a creative high. Just because it's good doesn't mean it's going to be good forever. I mean,
And we've seen that recently.
Yeah. So, yeah, always in that camp of, like, no crime is being committed for ending something that is good. That is part of life.
Yes.
Things end. And glad that, it is ending on a high.
Yes. By the way, I should bring up, there are some people online, which I don't get, who are saying, hey, what are you doing? They're just canceling this book because people like it more than the regular Amazing Spider-Man. To which I say, guys, this book is one of their best-selling books.
Yeah.
If they could keep it going, they would. But it's just they feel it's coming to an end.
Yeah.
That, Hickman is doing what he thinks is best. Do you think that because Ultimate Spider-Man is ending, does that mean the rest of the books will end? Or would they forge on without Spider-Man? Which I can't see happening, but do you think Ultimate Spider-Man ending means the rest are done? Or would they continue without Spider-Man?
I could see them starting to wrap it up, especially as, there's other things currently going. I could see them starting to wrap it up.
Yeah. So, first issue, December, guys. We say farewell to probably the whole Ultimate Marvel Universe, which, boy, what a ride it's been. And you know what? I look forward to going back and starting over and going through the whole thing again.
Yeah.
All right. So shall we move on to another DC story?
Ooh, DC. Now we're talking.
Yes.
Just kidding.
Guys, it just so happened that I found more Marvel stuff than DC.
Yeah.
So it's not like a bias thing. Because, I love the DC characters even more than the Marvel ones. It's just, these were the ones I could find.
Yeah.
So, and this one's actually pretty recent. It came out after Comic-Con, to which I say, why? Why did you not announce this there? That could have been such an exciting thing. But it did come out, I believe, a few days ago. And that is that DC has announced a new limited series teaming up Static Shock with, get ready for it, Batman Beyond. That's right. So Terry McGinnis, the Dark Knight of the Future, is making a return to comics, which is very exciting. Hopefully, what that means we also get to see old Bruce Wayne. So that's something I'm looking forward to. This comes to us from DC.com. So the series is called Batman / Static Beyond. And it's a 6-issue limited series that will be published under DC's Elseworlds. It will be written by Evan Narcy and drawn by Nicholas Drapi-Ivy. Now the first issue will be released on November 12th. And here is the little synopsis we have for it. In the debut issue, Terry McGinnis patrols the neon-lit streets of Neo-Gotham, while Virgil Hawkins, who is Static, pioneers at a technological revolution. I think there's a typo in here. They forgot to space A in technological. A technological revolution with the launch of the Q-Wave energy grid. as Earth prepares to join a powerful interplanetary alliance. Man, there's... Look, I love DC, but man, did no one proofread this ahead of time. Interplanetary alliance called the Cooperative, the Justice League Beyond stands ready to usher in a new era of peace. But when a mysterious villain triggers a global blackout, the planet's future hangs in the balance. With technology crippled and chaos rising, Static and Batman Beyond must forge an unlikely alliance and take a grounded approach to saving the world before it's too late. So this series, it's set in the future. You know how everything runs at technology. What happens when there's a global, power outage? Panic, destruction, horrible things.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. And, Nicholas Draper Ivy said in the article, this story is intended to be a commentary on our over-reliance on technology and the imminent dangers becoming complicit and too comfortable using AI to substitute our own imagination, human ingenuity. So there's that. So, for a story set in the future, look, even if we lose, technology today, we're screwed. But in the future, which I believe Batman Beyond is always supposed to be set 50 years in the future, we're screwed. We're so screwed.
Yeah.
So, that sounds interesting. Batman Beyond, I love Batman Beyond so much. Although, if there's no technology, he may not have the radio receiver in his cowl to talk to Bruce Wayne. That would not be good, because I want Bruce to be a part of the story too. But I'm looking forward to it. And Static Shock, or Static, that's his name, Static. I really enjoyed that animated series, so to see them work together is going to be very exciting. They did do a great crossover in the Justice League Unlimited show of showing an older Static working with Batman Beyond and old Bruce Wayne, so that was cool. So I'm looking forward to this. The book comes out November 12th. We don't get a lot of Batman Beyond right now. It feels like Batman Beyond, it comes and goes. It's not a thing that regularly gets published, but anytime you get Batman Beyond, that's always an exciting thing. So I guess, do you know much about Static or Batman Beyond, and your thoughts about bringing them together in a new comic book series, limited series?
Yeah. I really don't know much. My only exposure is the series. When did that series start airing? Early 2000s?
Batman Beyond or Static Shock?
Oh, Batman Beyond.
It started in 99.
Gotcha. That's my only exposure to either of these. And even that was I didn't really watch that much Batman Beyond. But yeah, that's a quite interesting crossover nonetheless.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. Man, have they been saving some really good stuff for the end of the year? So
yeah, it's packed.
Yeah, so I would love if this series could lead to Batman Beyond getting a regular monthly book again. Because that was, honestly, whenever I go to the comic book shop, that was one of the big 6 DC books I would get is Batman Beyond. So I would love for that to make a regular return to my list.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, packed year. Lots of cool stuff.
Yes. Packed year. You know what? We got one more comic story to bring up.
Nice.
And this is a big one. This one's exciting. It involves our old friend Spider-Man again. By the way, very Spider-Man heavy episode, but with Brand New Day coming, it is expected. He is their biggest character. All right, so get ready, guys. This is a big one. This is one that I am so excited for. It's up there with 90s Spider-Man that I'm so hyped for. And that is the news. Guys, get ready. My favorite. Now, look, not counting Stan Lee, because obviously, like, the dude created it. You can't compare other writers to the dude who created it.
Yeah.
But outside of that, my favorite Spider-Man writer is returning to Spider-Man comics. That's right. J. Michael Straczynski is returning for a brand new Spider-Man limited series. That's right. So this comes to us via Marvel.com. J. Michael Straczynski is returning to Spider-Man in the 5-issue series The Amazing Spider-Man Torn. It will be drawn by Piri Perez, and issue number 1 will be released on October 8th. Once again, so much saved for the end of the year.
Yeah.
But this series will follow Peter in his college days at Empire State University, and the book's cast will include Gwen Stacy, Harry Osborn, Mary Jane Watson, and Flash Thompson. So that's the news we have on the book, and I am so hyped for this because Straczynski's run on Spider-Man is my favorite run of the Spider-Man comics. And he recently did a run on Captain America. That was great. That included Spider-Man, a couple issues. And every time I got done with that, I was like, oh, Straczynski, what did I expect from you less than excellence? Like, that's just...
Yeah.
that's all you get with this dude is excellence. And I'm very glad he's back into writing comics because it's been a while since he was regularly doing Marvel Comics.
Mm-hmm.
But he came back with Captain America. Now he's doing a Spider-Man run. And I would love if there was some way for John Romita Jr. to somehow be involved because he did the art on Straczynski's run in The Amazing Spider-Man the early 2000s. So maybe could have something like that. And normally I'm like, prequels, flashbacks, but because Straczynski's Amazing Spider-Man run was about an older Peter who is married and a high school teacher, I'm really excited to think about what Straczynski can do writing about Spider-Man during the time when he was in college, during that time that we see depicted in the 90s cartoon and the Tobey Maguire movies. So I think that's very cool. And also, because it's set in the past, Straczynski doesn't have to deal with the baggage that the book has had to deal with since he left, where they did the whole Brand New Day storyline and it undid the marriage with Mary Jane, and you had Dan Slott do like Superior Spider-Man and all that. This removes that. It's just, here, Straczynski, go play in this area and do what you do best. So I am so hyped for this book. Again, it's like it's up there with the 90s Spider-Man 94 books. So I cannot wait. I am so excited. More JMS doing Spider-Man, the better, because it's one of those things where it's just like JMS doing Spider-Man, you know you're going to get something great. Nothing less than excellent. So I'm excited for this. Now, I'm pretty sure you have not read any JMS Spider-Man, which, how dare you? Shame on you.
Sorry. I was checking to see if that was the case, and I haven't seen anything yet that I have read in the list, so...
Okay, so, but you've heard him a little bit on here. I guess,
yeah,
what are your thoughts on JMS coming back for Spider-Man? The guy who did Spider-Man in the 2000s, and, I guess if you don't have much to say, is there anyone you would like to come back to do more Spider-Man?
Well, for that question, my taste has leaned, quite, a lot of the more recent Spider-Man, it's leaned quite on the older side, so, yeah, I'm not even sure. Who is that, I'm not good at this. Who is the, I guess, kind of second major era after Stan Lee again?
Was it Roy Thomas?
Or maybe I'm thinking of a little later. Or like who did was it the night Gwen Stacy died kind of era?
Oh,
Or that's earlier than that. I'm thinking of no, maybe I am thinking of Gary Conway.
It was Gary Conway who did the night Gwen Stacy died.
Yeah. Yeah, but again, like, that's a lot of the stuff I've been reading more recently that I really liked has leaned quite older, so it's a little bit of a pipe dream. But, yeah, I can't, speak too much to J. Michael Straczynski, but, I do, the name does come up a lot on this podcast, and it does just seem like a really good sign of pretty good comic book era.
Oh, yes. I was blanking. Oh, what do you think about basically the idea of doing a book set during Peter's college days?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I like that. I mean, we've talked about before that the story is told very often from the perspective of high school.
Yeah, one could say almost too much.
Yes,
because
so I think,
it really was only the first 30 issues he was in high school.
Yeah, and so that's been explored enough, I guess. So I guess at the current point, the more the merrier as far as other eras of Peter Parker's life is concerned.
Oh yes, so I'm very much excited that JMS is back. I'm hoping maybe after this series is done, he'll still be around doing more Spider-Man stuff. So
yeah,
fingers crossed, because it's always exciting whenever JMS takes on Spider-Man. So there we go, guys. Those were the comic book stories I had banked for us, and I'm very glad that we got to cover them on here.
Yes.
You know what? Maybe I'll throw something out here before we go to Rabbit Hole. Did you know? By the way, I should quote it real quick. This comes to us from Deadline, I believe, is where I first saw it. So, did you know that Larry David has a new show coming to HBO?
I don't think I have heard this.
So, it's about, it's a sketch comedy about America's history, and it's going to be kind of in celebration of America's 250th birthday. So Larry David is writing it. It's going to have a bunch of the Curb Your Enthusiasm cast. I'm guessing maybe some of the Seinfeld cast will also be in it. But do you know who's going to be a producer on it?
Oh, who?
You may have heard of him.
Okay.
He was a little famous. He had a job, for 8 years. He's a producer on the show will be Barack Obama.
Oh, that was more famous than I was expecting, actually.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, look, I don't know which one is more the career highlight because, look, yeah, you can be president. Sure, there's only been 40-some.
Yeah.
But not everyone gets to work with Larry David.
Yeah.
Yes.
Some might say that working with Larry David also involves, no war crimes or anything. So it's actually kind of better than being the president.
Yes, and you know what? When it was announced, there was a statement from President Obama, and I love the statement so much that I gotta read it here.
Okay.
So President Obama said, "I've sat across the table from some of the world's most difficult leaders and wrestled with some of our most intricate problems. Nothing has prepared me for working with Larry David."
Wow. Impeccable marketing statement there. I mean,
yes,
awesome.
So to me, it's just okay, you got the greatest sitcom writer of all time doing a show. Okay, now I'm a little bit hesitant about being a sketch comedy, but I'm just hey, look, if Larry can't make this work, nobody can. But
Yeah.
Larry doing something on HBO,
Yeah.
it gets me excited. So
Yeah, I think sketch comedies have been pretty good. I've been enjoying a lot of them recently. Like, I Think You Should Leave and stuff. Yeah, that's cool.
yes. So, did we want to jump into some rabbit hole then to wrap this thing up?
Sure, yeah, let's do a few.
Yes. So let me check. I had them on my phone because sometimes they just come to you and you're just like, all right, let's write these down. Okay. What's something about entertainment that you look back on nostalgically that today's generation won't experience?
Yeah. You
Now,
know,
look, a lot of people will talk about like Blockbuster. So what's something kind of like that?
yeah. I mean, what's coming to mind, maybe I'll just talk through it and arrive at the answer, or maybe this is the answer, but I do think there's something in general about media being harder to access that was, I mean, yeah, at risk of sounding old, like back in my day we had to walk up a hill both ways to school or whatever. I mean, that's what this is, but I do think there's some truth to it, which is just like, you know, there's a paralysis of choice kind of problem with how easy it is to access so much media right now. And it used to kind of feel like if you could get your hands on media, it made it really special. So, I do think there's something about, like, you know, and maybe this does kind of tie into, like, a Blockbuster or something, but just, like, if you can only afford to get, like, 2 movies over a weekend, you're gonna really try and pick 2 movies, and it's gonna make it feel really special if you found a really good one. I appreciate the ease of variety. I love how easy it is now to access more, like, indie films from other countries, and with music, like, I can listen to dozens and dozens of new albums a year from smaller bands because of how easy it is to access music now. But yes, you know, then there's this other side of me now looking at a different angle of media and music, where I'll sometimes go to a record store or just a music shop. Like there's one I go to downtown, that I'll go there and I'll go like, oh, there's a cassette section. I'm going to look at those. And I'll look through them and there'll be these like smaller bands I've never heard of, because cassettes are kind of like the easiest thing, cheapest thing to produce, actually. Like if a local artist, even to this day, putting something on a cassette and getting it sold at a local store is
Wait, you found
pretty
new
affordable.
music on a cassette?
Yeah, it's still a little bit of a small subculture of like smaller bands putting stuff on cassette and selling cassettes, because it's much easier to produce for smaller artists than besides digital. Like, I mean, like it's a little collectible item. There's a little bit of a tape culture. It's kind of a weird niche subculture. But yeah, I'll just go to this cassette section and see like all these bands I would have never heard of, or if I did see them on the internet or something, I would have just scrolled past them because there's so many choices. But now I'm fronted with this little cassette of a band I've never heard of with a cool little cover, and I'm like, I'll spend $6 on this, sure, and just figure out what it'll sound like. And that's a cool experience that I just don't get from digital music or anything else, streaming music. And yeah, the same could be said for movies and stuff. Like if you find something in a $5 bin and you're like, oh, look, it's a cool sci-fi movie and it's only $5, it probably will suck. But it's fine. It's cool. It's good.
Oh, yes. You know what? Since you brought it up, so we talked a little bit about Blockbuster. When you would rent movies, you talked about, like, getting 2 of them. How many times would you watch, like, a movie you rented? Because when I would rent, like, 4 movies or 3, I would watch them over and over and over when I rented them. Because I'm like, hey, get your money's worth. Were you like a one-time view, or would you watch them multiple times when you had them?
I was one time, I think. I just... I didn't... Yeah, I don't think it even occurred to me. And it wasn't my money, so my money's worth. I wasn't thinking about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I also... Watching things over and over and over it actually became more of a thing for me as an adult, as I would like put stuff on in the background for like comfort movies, comfort shows. And there weren't that many things as a kid that I really rewatched that much. Maybe some like Disney animated movies. Like I'm sure I saw what did I really like? Dumbo many times. Or something like, but generally a lot of my favorite movies from my childhood, I maybe saw them once, I was like, this is my favorite movie ever, and then I would ask to rent it a couple months later again. So I've maybe seen some movies twice from my childhood.
Wow. Speaking of Dumbo, do you know that's a very short movie? It's only like an hour.
Yeah. As a kid, an hour, that's 3 hours.
You're like, come on, elephant, when are you finally gonna fly?
Yeah.
All right, so for me, and this actually happened recently, I got to experience this again. It's finding a VHS tape of a TV recording of a show that isn't on TV anymore.
Yeah.
So back in the day, you would find a tape, like, just lying around, and you're like, what's on here? What was recorded on here? Pop it in, and you'd see a show that you hadn't seen in years because it's no longer on TV. And you're like, my God, I'm actually watching this show again that I never thought I'd be able to see again.
Yeah.
And I actually had that happen a couple weeks ago because I was just like looking through stuff. I was like, oh, I found a tape labeled Toon Disney. Popped it in. It's one of the few shows that they don't have on Disney Plus. It was House of Mouse. It was 3 hours of House of Mouse. And I was just sitting there like, my God, never thought I could legally, wink, wink, watch it again.
Yeah, no.
It's on YouTube.
Yeah,
it's on YouTube for you guys.
Speaking of, I mean, that reminds me of something else. And we're deep enough in this episode to where I can say this. And any FBI agents, why'd you listen to so much of this stupid show? Get a life.
We're gonna ignore that warning from every DVD. Yeah. Federal law.
One thing I actually got a little into recently, on this topic of like missing certain aspects of physical media, I bought a little like USB CD reader. One of the reasons I got it was I have tons of CDs and DVDs on just like burnt discs from forever ago that I was sorting through. I even had stuff like old like school projects and stuff. Not that old, like college projects. But I used to save a lot of my backup files on discs. So I was like, oh, I want to read these. And then I started going like, oh, I can burn CDs now. And I also have this CD player. That little blue box there is a CD player. But I actually have been getting pretty into, like, I own the music digitally, but I'll just burn some CDs and just play them like that. And, I'll burn some DVDs as well, have a little bit of a physical collection. And, we won't say how I got those, but... it does remind me of back in the day, because now I'm implicating other people, but my family was a bit of a, like, rent movies from the video store and just kind of, maybe you'll need them later. So that was another, yeah.
Oh, yes. What was it? I can't remember now. I'm just drawing a blank.
Yeah.
But yes. By the way, do you actually, since you talked about it, do you actually own a DVD player right now or no?
What I had no way to play my DVDs for a while because I had my PS4 stopped working for a while.
Oh.
One of the incentives for me getting a PS5 was this. That like we sort of talked about like, oh, should I get a Blu-ray player or something? And I was like, if I'm gonna spend $100-something on Blu-ray player, why don't I just spend $400-something on a PS5? So
hopefully it's better quality.
Yeah. So that's how I play DVDs and Blu-rays.
Oh yes. You know, I don't use that PlayStation to play DVDs, but I don't know, maybe they still do. Do you remember on like the PS2, like if you put in like something more than PG, you had to put in a code?
Oh, really?
Like an access. Maybe it was just mine. It was like a parental control thing. And the password for mine was 4444.
Oh, interesting. Well, back in when I was a kid on the older consoles, I did have a DVD player or like a VHS DVD kind of player. So I only ever used that. I didn't really start using my console as an entertainment system until PS4. I haven't experienced that on PS4 or PS5.
You know what got me to stop doing it? Watching DVDs on PlayStation 2s.
Oh, what?
Maybe it was just mine, but like, whenever there was like an explosion or a loud noise, it would like cut to black. Like for some reason, a loud noise would make the visual go away.
That seems like a weird like connection issue with like the little 3-prong thing.
I don't know. But after
That's
that,
weird.
I was like, nope, never again.
Yeah.
All right.
My PS4 also sucked at playing movies. It would actually go black when I put it in, and then I would have to like restart it and then try again until it would not come up black. So I didn't, but the PS5 has been great for it. I've had no issues with playing. It's just like finally in 2025 we have devices that can play video games and Blu-rays. But
yes,
yeah.
What is an unintentional funny line from a dramatic moment in a movie for you?
Unintentional funny line.
Mine is actually from a movie I like. Okay.
Okay.
Watchmen. It's from both Zack Snyder's Watchmen and from the animated one. So I believe it's in the comic too, okay? Because it's such a movie moment that no one would say in real life.
Mm-hmm.
It's the moment where, is it Night Owl is his name? I think that's what it is. Night Owl and the comedian. Where like there's like a riot, they break up, and Night Owl just throws up his hands and it's just like, what happened to us? What happened to the American dream? And I'm just like, no one talks that way in real life.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, what happened? It came true. I'm just like, that is such an over-dramatic.
Yeah.
Like, only in fiction would someone just cry out something like that.
Yeah. That reminds me also of classic, the dialogue at the final fight scene of Episode 3 of Star Wars. Like, all that stuff, like the... Like, I particularly like when they're floating on the, like, lava platform things, and they're just kind of having, like, what feels like a kind of civil debate. Just those parts are, it's amazing.
And, like, not in a hurry or anything. They're like, we're going to stand here and debate.
Yeah.
On these robots flying in the lava about... You know, from my point of view, it's almost like a therapy session.
Yeah.
From my point of view, the Jedi are evil.
Yeah, they're it's almost like, that's probably the best part. From my point of view, the Jedi are evil. Like it's almost like they're doing. Let's use I statements to not be like. I feel when you say I feel that you're discounting the Jedi.
I almost wish Yoda had been there and just like, Obi-Wan, hurt your Padawan is.
Yeah.
Reach out, you must, to your Padawan.
I hate you. Now charged language this is.
Yes.
Rephrased.
That's when the therapy session is over.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan is spilling out his heart like, Anakin, you are my brother. I love you.
Yeah.
I hate you.
Yeah.
Little brother, clearly, when he's screaming like that.
Yeah.
All right, last one before we wrap up.
All right.
I hope it's not one we've done before. What is your release the Snyder cut? Is there anything that's in a vault
Yeah.
that you're just like, man, I really, really want to see it?
God, I think I just thought of something like this recently. I wonder, I mean, to me, the ultimate lost movie, what could have been, is Guillermo del Toro's The Hobbit, but I mean, I don't think that made it to filming.
No.
But it's the ultimate what could have been movie to me.
I mean, there is a script at least you could read.
Yeah. I guess, yeah, that would be... Oh, God, I swear there was something I was just thinking about of a version of something. But yeah, I can't remember right now. What's yours?
Well, I have two. One is Batgirl. I really, really, really want to see that movie, especially with Michael Keaton as Batman. Although, you know what? We do have at least one thing on the internet. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's the two directors like doing a selfie style video. They're like standing in front of the Batmobile and they say, "Hey, I'm director," whatever his name was. "I'm the other director." And then behind them is Michael Keaton in the full suit going, "I'm Batman." So that's really the closest thing we have. But
Yeah.
you have like a movie with the best live action Batman of all time. It's just sitting on a hard drive somewhere.
Yeah.
And you know, we hear the whole thing, well, it wasn't releasable. I'm like, well, that didn't stop you from putting out Joker 2
Yeah, exactly.
or Aquaman 2 or Shazam 2. By the way, also Michael Keaton's footage from Aquaman 2.
Yeah.
Where's that footage?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, imagine a world where they did a tax write-off on Joker 2 and released Batgirl. Like, it's a better reality we could have lived in.
And you know what? Maybe there is a little hope because they're undoing a tax write-off for Coyote versus Acme. That is going to come into theaters now.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the way, tax write-off you should have done? Superman. You know what? No, you know what? I take that back. No movie should ever be a tax write-off.
Yeah.
If it's terrible, let us see it.
Yes.
I'm glad they put out Madam Web. Because you know what? It was quite an experience of being like, how far will they go? The other one I'll bring up is the Josh Keaton episodes of Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Yeah.
Because he recorded some lines as Spider-Man. By the way, Josh Keaton was Spider-Man in the Spectacular Spider-Man animated series. He recorded 3 episodes as Spider-Man. And they got dubbed over at the last minute by Drake Bell. Just to promote his crappy Ultimate Spider-Man show.
Yeah.
So
I did think of a quick thing, and this way we can end talking about my favorite author, Terry Pratchett. But this is sort of something where it's like, I respect your wishes, but respectfully, I want to see that more than anything in the entire world. Which is that he had Terry Pratchett. He passed away in 2015 from a form of Alzheimer's, and he had tons. He was a voracious writer. He wrote so much. There's a time in the 90s where he was coming out with 2-3 books a year, and they're always good.
Wow.
And,
were they thick books, too? Like 400 pages or something?
I mean, they weren't like Stephen King 700-page books, but they were like 300 to 400 pages. But he supposedly had tons of like unfinished Discworld books, short stories, writings, and he said it was like one of his wishes that I don't want anyone to, like, this is something that happened with like Tolkien and a lot of other authors where it's like after they die, someone comes in and finishes it for them and releases it, and they would have had a gold mine of like, you could have probably released like 20 more Discworld books of all these other writings if they really wanted to like cynically release stuff after his death. but he had tons and tons of unfinished works, and he said, what I want, his request, which was respected amazingly, was, when I die, I want you to take all the hard drives and bulldoze over them. And they literally did, like, run a bulldozer over the hard drives. So all of those works are destroyed. It's more than lost media. We will likely, unless someone, and this would be, I think, messed up because it'd be against his wishes, but unless someone was like, I'm actually going to save these over on a different hard drive. But if that was the case, that they genuinely took the only digital copies that are in existence on those hard drives and crushed them, if that is the truth, then those will never, ever, ever be seen.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I mean, personally,
even if it's unfinished, why not still publish it and just say, to be continued, never?
Yeah.
Or never the end.
I want to say, I'm trying to remember, there are still, Terry Pratchett's daughter is continuing some, like, lore books and Discworld stuff, but, so it's possible that there's some lore writings and stuff out there that, but I think it was kind of like these nearly finished novels that were kind of like he didn't want something to be finished by someone else. Yeah, it's sort of something that's a shame because it's like, even in an unfinished state could have been someone's art to enjoy, but, you know, I at the same time, I respect his wishes.
Yes. So, guys, there we go with our special, I don't even know what we call this, kind of Comic-Con adjacent episode, genre hype
and a
episode,
summer comic news.
Yes. You know, it was fun to talk about what's going on the page, and I hope maybe at the end of the episode, people will come away saying, man, there's some exciting stuff going on the page right now. Mm-hmm. And we didn't even cover, like, the regular DC universe or the Marvel universe that much, so there's some good stuff for us all to look forward to. So there we go, true believers, you got yourselves SDC comic news related episodes. So there we go. And while you wait in line to pick up that new Spider-Man comic by J. Michael Straczynski, whether you're in line or online, always remember, whenever you talk about entertainment, to keep falling down that rabbit hole.